Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis. I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined today with my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Hey, good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Tommy Lewis.
Hey.
You see, I have my African Apple Watch band on.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. Tell me more.
Hey, man, I just keep, I'm a watch fiend, man.
Yeah.
So I probably got about 75 watches. So I really don't put this on that much. But I decided, man, when it came out with the cultural colors, man, that was some research that they did that was in the right direction. Because when I put this on, I think about my cultural identity and the values of that, man, the richness of the motherland. And so I'm grateful to be wearing that this morning.
Sometimes we have to be reminded of that, Eric, as a generation after generation after generation, particularly in the African-American community, we are moving further and further and further away from our natural roots of the motherland.
Right.
And so when we look at millennials and Gen Zs and all that good stuff, the nexters, they may not have as much connection historically to that.
That's right.
And coupled with they may not be learning it in class or school as well, right? That might be another topic for another day.
Oh, man, we're going to have to do that one because we're going crazy in the schools. I mean, they're just taking out everything that was historical. And I guess just put in a marketing thing, man, for the U.S., just market. Forget real history. So we got some challenges there, man. But let's talk about your week, man. What happened good in your week this last week, Tommy, that you want to share with us?
Yeah, so this week was good once again. Started some work with a client, actually a couple of clients. We are in a 3-year contract. Last week was the first week of the 3-year engagement. And so with one client was fantastic, man. They were really looking to move the needle with regards to the work. It was not a check the box. It was not a flavor of the month. Let's do this and then let's not, measure it or sustain it.
Right.
And that happens a lot. But this client said they told us what their agenda was. Right. Here's what we're going to do this month, next month, next month, next month. And, everyone wasn't always on board, everyone in attendance. But the good news is that, I'm a professional just like you. And we know how to bring those crossed arms and furry browed folks, bring them into the conversation. So I really enjoyed bringing people into the conversation, welcoming them into a safe space that they can, present their own authentic truths, as well as listen to the lived experiences of others. And so that's what last week was. It was just a rebirth that this work is valued, it is important, and we're part of that solution.
Tommy, I appreciate that, man. How's the family? How's the family doing?
Family is good, man. Family is good. Young son Bryce finished up his first quarter here, 10th grade, finished up his first quarter. And the school he attends, for those who are less familiar, in Southwest Ohio, Walnut Hills High School, academically strong school, and they're not playing around.
Right.
They're not playing around. And so he's had to learn how to manage his time a little bit better.
Right.
And he's told me that. I said, unfortunately, I can't take your quizzes or tests. I can't even do your homework. Right. And so the good news is he sees in himself where he needs to improve. The wife is good. Family is good. Getting a little R&R this weekend.
Okay.
All is good. All is good. Hey, how about you and yours?
Hey man, things are great at home, man. You know, I love that I have a big family, man. I love that, Tommy. I love that. I hit the door, man, and I'm hearing stories from everybody about, just what their day has been like, man. I'm just grateful, man, because, I said this a few times. I wanted kids when I was a child. And I've got 4 of them now, man. I just love checking in, how things going, and just encouraging them that wherever you are, whatever's happening today, just celebrate it. Because this is not a race. This is just life. And so live each day in the most joyful way that you can and embrace the challenges that come. So that's really kind of what I believe. I had a chance to meet a young man that was interested in the work that we're doing. He's a Walnut Hills graduate, super sharp young man from UC over in graduate school there, man. It was just inspiring, man, to talk to somebody who is just now trying to get on this road. He's working with in corporate America right now, Tommy. And you know what he said? I don't know if I'm this is not as fulfilling for me. Just showing up and helping this company sell this particular product, and I'm beginning to question what is the real value of life and what does it mean to do something that's meaningful in the world. And he just started asking questions about what we do, Tommy. And I was just grateful, man, to have a young man who is so sharp and thoughtful, man, who's interested in the work that you and I are doing. Also with clients, man, we are building new training. I love learning all the time. I'm just a lifelong learner. And so I had a client this week push back around a design that I put together around, one of the courses. And hey, I enjoyed going back a little bit to the drawing board, man, and bringing some other stuff, because I am a learner and I like sort of fresh insights. This is an amazing week, capped off by last night, hopefully today as well, that Lakota West, UC, and the Bengals all have winning seasons right now going. And they're at the top of the list. Huh? What is this, man? What world are we in? I went to the game last night with my son to watch Lakota West and Lakota East, man. And it was a barn burner for a while, just a defensive game, man. And I mean, Lakota, I think their first couple of scores were defensive scores, Tommy. The defense, knocking people down, getting the ball, running it in, intercepting the ball, all of that. So I was like, man, I was just blown away by that. So just really enjoying winning football in this town is positive. And then I'm also preparing for speaking at the SHRM Inclusion Conference next week. And so I'm going to be doing a couple of different presentations there and doing some networking, hot topics. So I'm just delighted about that. And Judy is going to the conference. She's going to be one of the featured speakers as well. Tommy, I told you we got to get you on this train with us, man. Yeah. Because they need a lot of additional, great speakers like yourself, man. And so I want to talk to you more about that. But looking forward to going to Texas and seeing some of my family there as well, man. So just really been a good week. But the last thing I would say, though, Tommy, is that the challenge sometimes this week was looking at people and all the stress that they're under, man. And I'll tell you, if there was a consistent theme that I was seeing, I don't know if it's just zoomed out or what it is, man. But I had a lot of people. I met with a lot of people, Tommy, that looked like this. The hair was hanging out to the side like this. I mean, glasses was all like this. Like, let's go ahead and start the meeting. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. I told one person, Tommy, she said, this is my last meeting of the day. I said, no, the last meeting was your last meeting. I'm going to release you from this one because you look like you need to just go hit the bottle or hit the weekend or something, man. So I tell you, man, people can say all they want, man, but they are roughing it out, Tommy. People are under a lot of pressure, man. And I say that tongue in cheek a little bit, but here's the message to our community. Be nice to yourself, get the rest that you need, take vacation when you need to, understand that we are still in the midst of a war, ain't we, Tommy?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. We're in the throes of the war. And we thought, this would only take, a few months, maybe a year at best, and then we'll get back to normalcy. Other folks said, I don't think we're going to get back to the past normalcy. It's going to be a new norm.
Right.
The reality is that learning curve from the old normal to the new normal
Right.
is extremely anxious for people. It's stressful for
Right.
people. It is frustrating and sometimes confusing, Eric, that we unfortunately are fairly short-term thinkers.
Right.
And that is, we're going to get through this in a year, maybe a year and a half.
Right.
And then, I'll get back to the, kind of doing what we do. And we don't always adjust to change as quickly. Here's one reason why. So change is constant, Eric. It always happens.
Right.
What people typically go through is a sense of loss with regards to change.
Right.
Loss of control, loss of direction, loss of how things used to be, loss of self-identity, right, in the midst of this. So you have 6, 7, 8 different aspects of loss. And when people go through change, especially professionals in the workplace, although they are experiencing loss, they're not often given time to mourn the loss, right? That's very important, because mourning allows us to rejuvenate ourselves, refocus ourselves, to give homage and respect for that is long gone. But when we don't have the opportunity to mourn, we stay in a arrested development state, and anxiety, sometimes depression, starts to creep into our psyche, because mourning is a psychological ability to heal. We're not healing ourselves, Eric. We're not. So that's what's happening with the change and being able to deal with the loss, man. And that's why we all crooked like this. I don't know what's going on.
So I got a client, man, I was working with, and they are going through a period of dramatic change. What they were in was very difficult, tough, a lot of breakdown in the culture, a lot of unhealthy practices in the culture, and then that blew up.
Yeah.
And a lot of the leadership, was let go, and now they got new leadership that's in place. And Tommy, they're looking even worse. And I would suggest to you that initially that is that reaction, man. It's kind of like when I was in a tough place, I at least knew the place that I was in. Now I'm in a supposed new place, but I'm still struggling. And sometimes if you're not careful, if you're a leader, you want to tell people, get over that. But it's not easy for people to move on because they have all kinds of emotions. Some people literally love the people that are no longer here. Yeah. So they're mourning over that. And so, Tommy, everybody that I was talking to and looking at, man, is just really feeling this sense of almost hopelessness. Yeah. And we had to bring encouragement to them and also kind of let them know where they are. And it's okay to be mourning. It's okay to be sad. That's a natural reaction, man. And we got to give people grace and time to heal from that. And sometimes if we want to just say, get over it, that only adds to the stress that they face.
It sure does. It sure does. And even that phrase, Eric, when people, you and I and others share that phrase, get over it with someone else, that is not what empathy is.
Right.
So not only are we looking for grace for others and for ourselves, but we're looking for empathy. Are you able to walk in another person's shoes? And when you throw data at someone, well, the facts are saying that, okay, that's not empathy, or you're just dismissing it, get over it, move on, right? That's not empathy. Empathy is listening, identifying how you can connect with that other person, and intentionally making the effort to walk in their shoes. Right. Now, we can't always walk in another person's shoes because of different dimensions of diversity, right? We just can't do it. But when we just throw things out like, just get over it, just move on. Individuals and companies alike are realizing that I don't have to take this. I can leave. And companies are realizing that employees are are more and more taking ownership of their own lives. Right?
Come on now, Tommy. Come
Yep.
on now.
Yep.
I'm gonna call that the Ross dress for less syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, I went up in there, man. I said, you know, a few weeks ago, they said it 15 minutes left. Get your last, purchase at 5 p.m. They usually don't close till 11. What? Because they can't find enough workers.
Yeah.
So the employees is now becoming empowered, man, because they are so few of them available. We talked about this years ago that workplaces would struggle to find workers. And so in many ways, Tommy, the things that you and I have been trying to help organizations to understand, to create people-centered workplaces, if you're not doing that naturally, you're being forced into that, because if you do not have a workplace that is attractive to people, then you won't have people. And so I think the other thing I would say to leaders, man, in organizations is be open to innovative ideas that come from your people. I would say to people, listen to your body. That's what I'm going to say, Tommy, because I'm watching right now as people in my family, man, round the clock.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I love this about the body. You know what the body eventually says? The body says, I don't care what your agenda is.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm shutting down.
I'm shutting it down.
Yep.
And so, you and I have talked about this. As much energy as I have, man, I feel like I have boundless energy, Tommy. I've seen the edge, man.
Yeah.
I have finally seen the edge of bodily, and I said, woo, man, I'm tired. Whoa. All these stink balls in the air. Now some of them are crashing down and everything. Tommy, I'm like, whoa, man, there's just too much going on. There was a chance where, Tommy, when we was twiddling our thumbs, like, if you could just send a contract. But now it's like, oh, okay, G, I didn't mean to call heaven to send me contracts. And so now, man, I'm starting to see the limits of what I can do. That just means grow. You got to grow. But I'm going to tell people in the work that you do, don't find yourself not able to shut it down, because, your body will. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the impacts of COVID-19 on people's mental health. Tommy, let me just look at a couple of things. I'm just going to throw them at you. 54% of Americans fear they will lose their job due to the pandemic. We are seeing that, symptoms of anxiety have tripled in the last year. Depression symptoms have almost quadrupled. Tommy, what are we doing to sort of react to and respond to COVID-19 still being around here?
So, I mean, when you first started, Eric, and you said, 54% of people fear they're going to lose their job because of COVID. That's a loaded statement. Here's why. Let's take the word fear. Mm-hmm. Fear is an emotion. Social and behavioral scientists say that about 85%, almost 90% of the things that we fear never come true. Right. Fear is a projection of literally the worst. Mm-hmm. And it's sometimes an embellishment of the worst. So that fear that we have is, again, 90% of that fear won't come true. Right. But 54% of people fear that they will lose their job because of COVID. Unfortunately, people will not lose their job because of COVID. If they were to lose their job, Eric, it's because of other people making decisions in reaction to COVID.
Come on now.
Those are two different things.
Right.
So I would caution people to blame the global pandemic, a virus, on their employment. Where if it's mandatory vaccines, or if it's wearing a mask in the workplace, or if it's social distancing, all of those policies, procedures, and practices are created by the decision makers or leaders within the organization.
Right.
For the most part, those decisions are made to enable the company to continue to provide the goods and services of its industry, of its business.
Right.
And we need people to provide that. So we want to keep the people safe.
Right.
Now with that, I think that having some fear is healthy. It is. At the same time, that we're learning that employees are a company's number one asset.
Right.
We are.
Right.
Years past, we're like, no, it's the client, it's the customer, right? It's our good, and we're going to create the need from our good. This computer, if you will, or this tablet, or this cell phone, we will create the need, and it will be this customer, and if it's not, it'll be another customer.
Right.
Now, those same employers are looking internally to say, we're losing our people, our number one asset,
right,
because of their fear, and they're not asking themselves the question, what are we doing to reduce or eliminate the fear, anxiety, and sometimes the depression that our employees are having in the workplace?
Right.
And so it's a very challenging time we're living in.
Right.
But I would encourage people to reframe messages of fear, of ambiguity,
Right.
and make those allies. Ambiguity can create innovation, creativity. It can create kind of a new way, a new process, maybe even a new ideal of one's identity.
Right.
Right. That's just something I will, share along those lines.
That's helpful. So let's look at some strategies that employees can prioritize as they look at their own mental health. These are some of the ones that were offered by an article that I was taking a look at. Limit media use. Keep a schedule. Get outdoors. Any reaction to those, Tommy?
No, I absolutely believe that. Eric, I actually, listened to a neuroscience scientist and an expert on memory. And he said that 3 things that we should do in the morning, and then I want you to react to it as well.
Right.
3 things that we should do in the morning, and I may have shared this in the previous show. He says that we should not touch our mobile device, our cell phone, for at least 15 minutes after we wake up.
Okay.
So when we wake up in the morning, allow at least 15 minutes to pass before touching or reviewing, even if it's an alarm. So some of us have an alarm on our phone that we set, but we all know that once you wake up so many times at the same time, your biological clock will be set, and you will sometimes wake up before your alarm goes off.
Right.
The reason why he says this is because he says that we as human beings are becoming Pavlov's dog. We are waking up, checking our email, and reacting. So we are beginning the day in reactionary mode, psychologically.
That's powerful.
Right. The other thing he says is that a very simple thing is that we should stretch.
Okay.
Because when we're rested, to keep our mental wellness, our physical wellness, we should stretch every morning after resting for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours.
Right.
To get our blood flowing to our brain, through our heart, into our body, which produces a little bit of kinetic energy that expels some of that dormant physical or emotional or psychological energy. And then the third thing he said is that literally when brushing our teeth or brushing our hair, that we should use the opposite hand, our non-dominant hand. Right. And what that does is allows us to fire off neurons and other electrical circuits in our brain on both and all sides of our brain.
Right.
So if we are right brain over left brain dominant, right, and this is a lot of the whole brain, right, Herman brain dominance, that we may find ourselves always thinking about problems, issues on the same side of our brain, knowing we only use about 10%, 13% of our brain. And that's where sometimes, Eric, the sickness is, or the illness of our health. If we were to energize all hemispheres of our brain from a mental health perspective.
Come on now, somebody.
We may be able to be humble enough to reach out for support,
Right.
or do some stretching, all that good stuff. I know that was a long answer.
No, it's excellent information, bro.
It's something that I've been thinking about often, and I've been seeing it in people I'm working with who are literally trying to solve the same problems with the same answers.
Right.
And now we're frustrated, we're unhealthy to a degree.
Right.
We need to expand and use more than 13% of our brain.
Right. That's good. Tommy, a couple of things that I'd add to that as well. Number one, you and I love to play golf. I'm going to strongly consider, ask our audience, our community to consider embracing and spending more time with the things that God has provided us for free. Water, drink more water. We just got to begin to engage in more healthier life practices. Get outside today. Breathe in the oxygen. Enjoy the atmosphere. Just being outside, because when we're indoors, we didn't turn into indoors kids now. Yeah. We're Zooming everything. We're not walking around a lot, and we've got to get outside to do whatever it is you want to do outside. But get outside and feel the sunlight, whether it's coming through the clouds or whatever. Breathe in God's fresh air. I'm going to play some golf this afternoon, Tommy, with my brother.
Yeah.
I just think that's one of the things that we've got to do. We've got to take care of ourselves, and we have to get into more of the spaces that God created. The other thing I would say about the limiting of media use. Tommy, there's sometimes a war inside of my car between wanting to keep up to date with what's happening on CNN and Fox, just trying to keep up to date. But whenever you're keeping up to date, you're also just bringing in a cloud, man.
Oh, yes.
A stress bubble is just coming in your car.
Yes.
And then I literally noticed, Tommy, when I turn it to the jazz station and watercolors, everything inside my brain says, now we're living. And I'm gonna tell you, Tommy, we've got to resist the plan of the enemy. And I'm gonna say the media's desire to keep us addicted to sensationalism, stress, and anxiety.
Yep.
I'm gonna suggest that the period that we're in right now, Tommy, we don't need any more stress and sensationalism and anxiety. So I'm gonna say to you that sometimes, Tommy, how nice is it to drive your car with nothing on?
Oh, Eric, I do that so often. I mean, I would drive, an hour or two with no music, no sound, no radio at all, and listening to my own thoughts. I'm not a singer like you are, but I'm always singing. I'm not a musician like others, but I always have some rhythm. Sometimes it's the rhythm of the road.
Right.
Sometimes it's the rhythm of allowing thoughts to come in and out of my mind and not holding on to certain things.
Right.
And then, like you said, Eric, really enjoying and respecting and honoring, God's world. He does have a plan. So driving without any noise, literally and figuratively, is calming, is peaceful. It's something that I would recommend anyone do, not only in driving, but find that time and space in their own home.
Right.
Or even at work, when we need to just get away, grab 15 minutes of silence. And what I also recommend is not as much grabbing silence with another addiction. Right? So don't move from silence of the noise of people to the noise of this calling of addiction, be it alcohol or drugs or tobacco or any of that, which can be addictive. So don't run and oscillate back and forth from noise to noise, thinking you're running from the noise.
Right.
So that's something I would think of.
That's good. I want to say happy birthday, Ty Austin, 65 years young. Just really grateful, man, that you stay with us and you join the show, man. We are so honored to have you. So glad to have you joining us this morning, man. We are grateful to have you brothers with us. It also says keep a schedule. Yep. So that's one thing that I would recommend to people, even if you're not working right now. Keep a schedule. And I want to say to those of you that aren't working, enjoy. Yep. Enjoy that time too. I see my daughter now that she's busting it for Clorox, you know what I'm saying? And she's longing for them days, man, when she didn't have a whole lot to do. So I would say wherever you are, enjoy it, but put together a schedule so you don't allow anxiety and depression to creep in on you.
Another thing with that, Eric, with keeping a schedule, it reduces ambiguity and uncertainty. It doesn't eliminate it, it just reduces it. So when we do have a personal or professional schedule, we're taking some sense of control over what we can't control.
Right.
But when we don't have a schedule, then we can kind of float with the wind and never really achieve or accomplish anything that we would like to accomplish. I'm not saying accomplish things that other people want us to accomplish.
That's right.
When we don't have the schedule, we don't accomplish it. Even if scheduling rest and relaxation, right? Like you said, you and your brother are going out to golf. There are things called tee times.
Right.
At a particular time, you're to start, and there's a typical time for 9 holes or 18 holes. That's the time in the schedule that you won't be doing something else.
Right.
Right. So that's important too, to keep that schedule.
I'm gonna freestyle just a little bit here, Tommy. One of the things that I did last week is I put in the family text, I want to know you. I want to get to know you and all the different sides of you. So I'm just putting that out there to say that let's have a conversation. And I've had a couple conversations with my kids this week, man. And Tommy, it's just so fascinating and so refreshing, man. I know that we don't spend enough loving time with each other, with no barking out responsibilities and have you done this and that, but just enjoying each other's free thoughts, each other's thoughts about where we are, sharing with my kids, not in a professorial way, but in a loving way, that you don't have to keep judging yourself as, am I successful enough yet? You know, am I meeting all of the markers that others have set for me? I love saying to them, man, just enjoy the air, enjoy the breath, enjoy the day, enjoy the ups and the downs. Tommy, we don't celebrate the downs enough, man. Those are some of my greatest stories in my life. The kids that we've come through, man, that were struggle periods, man. I look back on them. They certainly don't look as tough looking back on them as they did when I was going through them. But man, really making sure that we're making time in our lives for the people that mean the most to us. Yeah. Because I don't want my family to hear all the great stories of what you and I are doing out there in the world, saving the world, Tommy.
Right.
They really need access to us in these loving moments, man, of just kind of sitting with each other and admiring each other.
Yeah, and just to ensure, we see brother Cooley joined us. What's going on? What's going on?
TC got up early, man. Terry Cooley got up early to join us. He said he'd been missing us. We're gonna have to have him back on, Tommy. I love Terry. He is a foster dad, and I'll tell you what, Tommy, I am so inspired every time I talk to this genius of a brother. He has a genius of humor and life lessons. And man, he throws them out there, man, just dishes them out daily to these boys, man, that have been some of the hardest to place boys in all of LA. And he's got them, 4 of them in his house, I think now, man, and looking for more, and these are kids that brag about sometimes how many houses they've been in. I've been in 16 other houses. Yeah. I don't think you're going to last. And he just laughed, man. He said, look, I'm going to sleep good tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll say something like that. Like they think they're woofing. No, I'm gonna sleep real good tonight. I love that about Terry. But Terry has this combination of love, of power, of brilliance. That combination, man, and humor, man. He brings those things together like nobody else I've seen on planet Earth. And so, in many ways, I know that Dr. James Dobson said one time that children need to have discipline in order to feel safe. And I can tell you that's what I've seen with the boys that Terry's working with, man. They don't even realize how much they long for discipline and safety. And so just to watch him do the work that he does, man, it confounds the social workers, man. They're not ready for that. Terry, glad you're joining us this morning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we're talking about is strategies for employees or people to prioritize their mental health. We're talking through some priorities, and Eric earlier mentioned these six. Limit social media use and keep a schedule. Get outdoors. Looking at physical exercise and set some boundaries, and then reach out to support. So we're just exploring this as folks are joining our conversation this morning, and feel free, community, to share your thoughts. These are 6 strategies that an organization has developed, but there's also strategies that you have used different than these that worked. We want to hear those, right? This is a conversation. We want to hear those.
Right.
You're talking about getting outside, Eric. How about physical exercise? Not only getting outside. Talk to us about some of the things that you do for your physical exercise.
Well, I'm going to put together a list on the fly. I'm glad that none of my family's here to have to verify whether it's been done or not. I'm going to give you a list. I'm walking from the car to the office building. That's some of the exercise I do. Sometimes walking in and out of restaurants. That's some of the exercise that I do, Tommy. And some of my favorite exercise. Now, my family can verify this. Shopping. So I go from mall to mall. Sometimes I travel all the way to Middletown or Dayton, man, just to go to the little discount stores, man. That's the exercise set I do, Tommy. I wish. So this is on my wish list. But I promise you, man, beyond golf, I'm not getting enough time in with exercise. And I'm going to tell you that before we get to New Year's resolutions, man, I'm going to declare right now that that's one that I want to increase, because we only have one body. And Tommy, if we're not spending time on a daily basis, I just have to go back and remind you of something that I said probably a year or so ago, a vision that God gave me. You know, I drive a nice car, so I'll go up in the gas station and I sometimes just throw premium up in the car, you know. And God was like, you are putting premium in your car and less than regular in your body. And so, and so we're thinking about pampering things and not really taking care of this thing. We have one life, you know, and so I want to be committed to doing better. I've been drinking more water and things like that, but exercise is something that I need to make a priority. Are you doing anything in that space?
I am thinking about it.
Right.
So,
thank you. Right.
So,
we're gonna be real, y'all.
Yeah, Eric, what this is a good question, I think, and I'm hoping to put a little bit of a spin on it. I have a gym membership, and about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was going fairly regularly.
Okay.
Now, it took me a while to get that gym membership because I'm a former athlete, just like you.
Right.
And growing up as an athlete, always in the gym. If it was football, definitely we're in the gym 5, maybe 6 times a week. If it was basketball, maybe 4, baseball, maybe 3, but always in the gym. So I stayed in the gym, and I had made the decision that, you know, if I wasn't working out to be competitive, to be stronger, to be faster, then I'm not going to the gym, right? Right. Because you have the gym rats in there, you have the coaches, here's your, you know, you got max out, all these pressures that I didn't want anymore. So I went a long time without going to the gym. Right. And then I decided to re-up I had some physical ailments that I didn't think I should have at the age that I was.
Right.
And it was a matter of, I'm losing muscle, weight, muscle strength and all that good stuff.
Right.
So here's my twist on it, Eric. Because I am still a member of the gym and there's always opportunities for me to work out. Like I have weights in my basement.
Okay.
Right. That look as new as when I bought them 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
These dumbbells, this gym, man, it's crispy clean.
Right.
But I have a mental block somewhere, Eric, that's preventing me to exercise the discipline to continue the work.
Right.
So I will go down there one time and do about 15 minutes, get tired because I haven't been conditioning.
Right.
And then there's a little bit of a mental illness.
Yeah.
Right. That says you've done enough.
Right. Right. You can't push yourself like you used to when you
can't push yourself. And I think that is part of mental health, right? Of not identifying the mental barriers in our minds that are preventing us from taking time for ourselves, staying physically fit, getting up and doing something. Sometimes we take time for ourselves too long, Eric.
Right.
That, we are 3, 4, 5 years waiting for this number to hit.
Right.
It's not going to hit because you're not even planning anymore.
Right.
You haven't even disciplined yourself to get up and pay $3 for a lottery ticket that you're wishing will hit. Now we're just digressing, and it becomes a mental block. All right. And so I want to, take T's advice.
I told you he's hilarious, man. Hey, T, we're going to do it. Guess what, Tommy? We're going to declare it right here today, right here on Diversity Conversations. The three of us start, Terry, the three of us going to start holding each other accountable because I'm going to tell you this. This is what I think, Tommy. I believe that we are goal-oriented and competitive. And so that's what drove us in sports and that exercise because there was a purpose behind our exercise. We were trying to get better than the next fella. You heard the joke that says when you're running from a bear, it ain't that you could be faster than the bear, just be faster than the next person. That's how we live life, is that we were always trying to go by somebody, be able to go by somebody. And right now, we have applied all of that to our professional lives.
Yep.
And so all of that energy that we put into sports, I'm saying is something to somebody out there. All that we put into the sports, now we're putting into our professional lives. And I'm going to say that we have to chip off some of that to sustain ourselves. And Tommy, I'm going to say it like this, that my children are already saying, Daddy, don't desert the grandchildren that you don't have yet.
Yeah, right.
I need you and mommy to be here. And so that goes in one ear and comes out another. But I would say, Tommy, that this is a commitment that if we together make a commitment to start somewhere, just to document what we want to do in a week, and then just check in with each other, that's a starting place. And I'm going to declare that with our community too. If you want to join in on that with us, let's start a little chain text, on social media so that we begin to pull others into this so that we can hold each other accountable for good life choices and good, healthy life choices. Tommy, we need that.
I'm going to add something too, because I was definitely cracking up with what Brother Cooley, boy, right. It's funny. And as I was laughing, the spirit came into me, Eric. It really did. He said 5 reps of thinking about working out,
right?
10 reps of planning on it. T, I'm gonna shamelessly steal that, and let me tell you why. In the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the people that I work with, the organizations that I work with, they do not give 5 reps to thinking about DE&I. It's only 1 rep. right? Oh no, we got hurt. Something's happening. One rep. DE&I, we're good.
Right.
I'm going to tell them, I'm going to put something together and I'm going to give you credit.
A recipe, right?
It's a recipe. We need to have 5 repetitions of thinking about DE&I.
Right.
So think about it, come back and say, think about it some more, think about it. Now it's part of our thought process, in our mental wellness thought process. And then 10 reps about planning. That's the strategy.
Right.
Oftentimes, the people that I work with, they do have the passion or willingness to do the work. They simply don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to have self-reflection. They don't know how to really give true empathy to others. They don't know how to create sustainable, measurable strategies in the DE&I space. They need to put together 10 reps of just planning. So once they plan it, tweak it again, plan it, tweak it again, get it stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we'll do 20 reps of execution.
Right.
20 reps of execution. 5 reps of thinking about DE&I.
Right.
5 reps of planning DE&I.
Right.
And 20 reps of execution.
Right.
Right. I'm going to take that from Brother Terrence Cooley out west where it's best.
Right.
Give you some credit and say, hey, this is the community that's talking. Man, that's
right.
the way. And I was laughing because I was like, let's give 5 reps to thinking about working out.
Right. I love that as well. I'll tell you, because there are people that are depending on us to keep living. What we all are certain of is that our body is getting older and our body is giving us signals. I'm not happy with you.
Yeah.
You working too much. You're not giving any attention to me. I'm going to have you limping in a minute. And then I'm going to have you cramping up all night long. Yeah. Your body starts telling you that it needs better service. And I would say, Tommy, that if we start servicing our bodies better, and I would say for those of us, the 3 of us, there are people that are looking to us as their leaders and their role models. I think we've got to provide a better example, Tommy. That's the challenge. I'm going to throw the gauntlet down today and say that our families are, sort of like little ducklings, man, that are just sort of here, there, and everywhere. They're looking for some leadership, and we've got to begin to provide that in terms of personally modeling the things that are right. Now, I said to my family that we were going to do more cooking, and I haven't posted it yet, but me and my youngest son, we cooked a meal, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Stir-fried chicken, boy. We got in that kitchen and threw down on it. Everybody was laughing. We took pictures and everything.
Yeah.
But I think that, Tommy, I think we're coming into something right here that says that as we begin to spend more time with our families on healthy living, that the whole quality of our life will go up. And that's one way to buffer us against the mental stresses of COVID-19 and this environment that we're in right now. It's returning to healthier life choices. And I think this is one of those.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And I want to remind our community, in our conversations every Saturday, diversity conversations, Eric and I and you, the community, we really explore a lot of different aspects of diversity. We've had people talk about political views and stances, maybe social justice, gender, class, race, age, communication style, emotional intelligence. All of this is within the proverbial diversity wheel, the lens to which we see the world. And what we're talking about today, mental health, is something that we've talked about in the past in one way, shape, or form, but something that's coming up more and more and more. You all know this. It's been something in our particular community of mental health for some time.
Right.
It's been the trauma that we have endured over hundreds of years that we haven't always successfully been able to cope with, but we've fairly successfully transitioned it through generations. We have transferred some of our trauma across generations. And so I wanted to kind of connect the dots there because personally, and those who are in the Southwest Ohio or even any other country in the world, is that there has been a spike in homicides, shootings, and killings.
Yes, Tommy.
And I think that it is due to a number of reasons: poverty, education, homelessness, as well as joblessness, personal and family identity, stress, anxiety, depression, as well as mental illness, that we as a community have to take accountability when there is 1, 2, or 3, individuals who have come to their tipping point, their breaking point.
Right.
And they believe that there's no salvation for them when we know there is. And they are articulating that pain and that mental illness into, and applying it to a weapon that can possibly be deadly, a knife, a gun, or any other tool that with any force and spirit can take another person's life. We want to say, pause.
That's good.
Let's check ourselves and be accountable for one another. And the mental illness and the lack of mental wellness in our community, particularly African Americans, but humans overall. This is the diversity conversation that is not just black or white at all.
That's right.
So we're not going to get on that fence. Yeah, this is a black thing and diversity is about black. Nope.
Right.
This is about the human condition and how we caring for the human condition such that we are productive in the future and not regressive and not destructive in the future.
And so I want to weigh in with this, Tommy, as we come to the bottom of the hour. I want to weigh in with this message to families. I want to speak directly to families and say, make sure that you are not allowing the pressure of the times to increase the conflict that exists between you and the people you love the most. I would say that part of our anecdote. So I got the double vaccine of Pfizer. Then I went and got the booster. I'm all boosted up. I would say that the vaccination against some of the stress and anxiety of these times is to lean in towards love, patience, care, and understanding of those that you love the most. Don't allow yourself to say, I ain't taking it no more, and then just snap back. Or as my kids would say, clap back. I would say that it's so important for us to extend love and patience to one another. Tommy, I'm seeing that have a very positive effect, even with my own family. And I'm seeing that they are longing for even more connection when those connections are healthy and warm. It's like, we went to the ball game last Saturday with one of my sons, and we was about to leave because it was over, and he was like, hey, can we just stay and, watch to the end? Absolutely. That was his way of saying that I feel so good being here with my family. I don't want this to end. And I'm saying to you all, don't bring the stress home from the workplace. Yeah. Don't let stress just creep into your family. And before you know it, you're looking at divorcing the one that you love. You're yelling at your kids. You're wishing you didn't have kids. And you're not accurately defining the problem. The problem is stress and anxiety, and even sometimes depression. It's not your family. And so, Tommy, I would say, man, that's one of the things that I would offer to our community, man, is we have to spend a lot more intentional effort loving people. And when people say something crazy to you, just sponge it.
Yeah.
That ain't you, then that wasn't for me. So I ain't even going to react. I think we have to do that with one another.
Yeah, and I'm so blessed that you shared that Eric, and what Brother Cooley is sharing as well, that longevity and taking that one step. Over the last year, and me finding myself and being level and thinking long term,
Right.
there have been a number of occasions when, in the past, that conversation was a fight.
Yeah.
It was an argument.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes it was an immediate fight and argument, and sometimes it was a slow walk fight and argument. But in the last year and a half, man, I have been in such peace.
Woo! That's the word I want to hear.
Peace, just, even when the storm is around me,
right?
I don't get that excited anymore because I'm long term. This thing, long term, and long term for humanity. Long term for humanity. If I am not here, and I have children, which I do, I want them to know that the seed that was placed in me was placed in them, and they can place it in the next seed, the next soil to grow. And that's long term, and just we will be okay together,
right?
Stronger.
That's right.
Than separate.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I love that, Tommy. And so let me bring that even back into the work that we are doing. I told you all a week and a half ago, I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, right there at the Hershey Lodge. I was there with one of my clients, a big grocer, with their leadership, their corporate leadership, and all of their top, store managers from across the country. And Tommy, I was in rooms doing diversity training, and many of them were just compelled to be there. They didn't think they wanted to be there. But Tommy, I would see scowls on their faces, man, at the beginning. And I would look at those as though I'm not intimidated at all by that look that's on your face. I have something more powerful than that. And it's called peace and love and understanding. And I'll tell you, Tommy, I love it, man, when you start physically seeing the stress and the anxiety just start to dissipate from their face. And then you'll notice they crack a little smile, and I'll get right in your space. That's the thing about being face to face in person. I can come right into your space and say, I'm not afraid of you. You don't scare me because I'm going to love you anyway. And Tommy, that's what you and I are trying to do in the world. That's one of the changes that we've embraced. So we're not just trying to get people told. Right. We're trying to demonstrate to people the power of loving each other and caring deeply about one another, caring so deeply that we decide to treat each other with fairness and with equity and inclusive, so that nobody has to have that sense that they don't belong. And then by the end of the sessions, Tommy, sometimes the people with the sour faces, they just bust into laughter. And I just look at them, man, and I just join right in there with them, man. And that's what I love. It reminds me of when I was a kid. We used to see all them superheroes, man. And Tommy, they were all white, Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. But you and I, we could throw in our little sheet, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We could take our little raggedy sheet off the bed, throw it into a knot, or get a towel, throw it into a knot, all around the house, all around the house. That's what we do. That is what we do today. We literally throw on our DEI cape.
Yep.
That we've been wearing for 25 years. And in the midst of it, it says right there, the letters on it are, I love you. Yeah. And you can't do a thing about it. And that's what I love about this work that we do, Tommy, in this conversation that we have. I love you, man. When I come to these conversations and I'm not always energized, we even went through a week, man.
Yeah.
When I see you, I feel inspired and energized. And when you say something, man, that's so thoughtful, I thank God for that, because that gives me more life as well. And when our community joins in, Terry, Ty, my cousin, Callaway, I appreciate you as well. We love you all. You're making our lives better. Tommy, you got the last word, man.
Last word is, pay it forward. Pay it forward, man. I was blessed and continue to be blessed on yesterday to go grab a little bite to eat, a little lunch by myself. And there was a group of about 10 individuals who I think they were coming together, different generations, but they may have been family members. Folks were in their work attire. Some of the younger people were in their, jeans and t-shirt. And Eric, I paid it forward, and I paid for their entire table's lunch.
Woo! Right.
And I did it not to be saying this, but I did it because it came into my spirit.
Yeah, I love that, man.
That was a tithe that I gave. They may not have needed that quote unquote charity, but I know, just like you said, and the closing word is, when we thought things were bad in the past,
that's right,
and we made them through, we rejoice in victory. And I was sharing the victory, and I'm going to ask that we all this weekend share the victory of life, share the victory of God, and share the victory of the victories that are yet to be had. That's our diversity conversations. Eric, turn it back over to you for closing out.
All right, Tommy, I appreciate you. Community, we appreciate you. When you show up, things get better. I want you to go out this week, take care of your mental health, love on your family, give people grace. When they come at you sounding crazy, don't even take it. Don't even take it. Just absorb it, sponge it, and throw back a smile. Because what you have to say is, I'm not going to let you add more stress and burden to my life. And Terry, stay tuned. Me, you, Tommy Lewis, we made a declaration today that we're going to get on some type of accountability for healthier living, and specifically exercise. You all take care of each other. Take care of the people that you love and those that you don't love. Until we see you again next week. Take care.
Okay.
Bye now.